Hello, good afternoon, everyone, or good day, everyone. My name is Sheryl Ellison-Pons. I am the founder and CEO of DaiTechnologies Corporation. Our business is electric vehicle charging infrastructure construction, and we are also an authorized seller of EV charging equipment by a number of brands. Today, I'm going to speak with you about how real estate owners are investing in EV adoption for multifamily communities. So, who is our corporation and what we're all about? We are electric vehicle charging infrastructure experts for at-home and multifamily housing. We don't necessarily call it residential, but we definitely offer residential grade charging stations for people who want to put charging stations in their home garage, their detached garage, or curbside. And we also offer solutions for the multifamily housing market. Our mantra and our market focus is electric vehicle charging for places where people live. We were founded after I enjoyed a successful career in commercial real estate asset management. I'm a certified PMP and an experienced manufacturing engineer. And basically, I've entered this part of the sustainability industry as a result of my desire to transfer my success from commercial real estate and make a difference in the sustainability ecosystem. So I'm going to start off with a few statistics, and we're going to talk about the cost of decarbonization. So according to Reuters, as one of my sources, and the World Economic Forum, a huge number of $275 trillion with a T will be required through 2050 worldwide in order for the carbon fumes and emissions that we've put out into the earth and the way that we've polluted our waters. In order to reverse that, we have to spend that big number. Okay. Now, recently, our Congress passed legislation. And our president signed that legislation and put a few important legislative acts in motion so that the United States would invest in decarbonization through 2030. And that total number is $514 billion with a B. Now, private industry has also been investing in clean tech through 2026, and they have spent $2 trillion per year. I guess I don't have a number for when they actually started spending the money, but through 2026 is when they started getting serious about making those sort of investments. But at the end of the day, when you total all those numbers, that's 1% of the investments that are required to make a difference in 2050. So we do have a path forward. Right now, we know that it's just going to cost us a lot of money based on what we know as far as the economics and the technologies that we have today. The spending may not be as aggressive going forward as the technologies get more intelligent and smarter, and we implement artificial intelligence into our solutions, but this is where we are right now. The reason why I want to talk to you about the commercial real estate space is because the industry has basically contributed a teardrop in comparison to some of the contributions that are made in other areas of our economic systems. Okay, so they are the largest class asset holders in the world. And they are basically landlords. They are the equity funds, insurance companies, private investors, and REITs. Real estate, I'm talking about the built environment, the buildings that we live, primarily the buildings that we live, work, and play in, are the largest culprits of emissions in the US. They contribute 40% of all carbon emissions that are spewed into the environment. Automobiles are about like 25%. So how does this number get so high? Because just about everybody in the US has air conditioning system. Everybody in the US is burning some type of fossil fuel in their homes in order to keep it warm. We also have emissions coming off when we are throwing off exhaust, or even the methane that is coming out of our waste pipes that are coming out of buildings and things of that nature. That is pushing emissions out into the environment, and it has an effect on us health-wise, and also impacts our water. But yet, as of 2022, the real estate industry had invested less than $100 million in the energy transition, which means they've contributed, like I said, less than a teardrop, less than 0.5%, okay? Less than half a percent, less than 0.5% towards cleaning up the built environment. And why is this important to me? Because multifamilies live in these buildings that these people own, okay? Multifamily residents are the most underserved. They have the least accessibility to clean energy when they are in motion. I'm talking about when they're driving. And they have the least accessibility to clean air environments where they live. Okay, so we're here to do what we can do in the space that we're in. Our mission primarily is to make electric vehicle adoption accessible for the benefits of families or residents living in multifamily communities. So why is this important to me? Because like the statistics said, it's $100 million that commercial real estate has spent in clean tech investments as of 2022. That's somewhat anemic, yet the projections are that they could spend as much as $28 billion by 2026. I don't really know how that's going to happen at the rate that they've been spending, but I can tell you that I have definitely seen an uptick and an interest in embracing clean tech and electric vehicle adoption solutions for commercial real estate properties. Now, how do we make an impact in this space? Well, we know a number of the drivers. 29% of Black families live in multifamily unit dwellings or multifamily housing. We know the landlords because of our relationship with them, from my past experience, and asset managers. I work side by side with them, I network with them, and I did deals with them. The commercial real estate industry is a relationship business. Even though we have environmentalists, we have advocates, we have politicians, we have scientists saying how important it is for all of us to take some steps forward towards a cleaner emissions environment. They're not necessarily going to absorb the information unless you have a relationship with them. So what I've been able to do is take advantage of my experience and my relationships that I've built over the past 10 years and leverage my unicorn status, or DaiTechCorp's unicorn status, as being a woman-owned and MBE business in this space, to get the door open and have a conversation with them. And I spend a lot of time with my colleagues educating the market. And the reason why that's important is because it must be demystified. We tend to run in circles where the folks who are already in the business, we tend to be talking to one another, okay? So what my strategy has been is to be more evangelistic and go out into the marketplace and work with the customers who are the decision makers, who will make the difference at the end of the day. And I've said this before, I've posted it on LinkedIn and on my blog, and I've said it before, there is no energy transition unless the people in the real estate industry make the decision to do so. And so that's exactly who I've been going out to build relationships with or continue my relationships with, and basically getting them on our side. And the most important thing is that they don't want to make investments that they don't get a return on, they cannot monetize, or just not going to get the results they expect. So educating the market helps them invest with confidence. Because of our boots on the ground, hands-on experience at DaiTechCorp, we are an experienced navigator. We know how to walk them through the process. And many times we're holding their hands going through the same paths we went through building our own company. DaiTechCorp disrupts the commercial real estate inertia with DEVI. And DEVI is basically my acronym for DaiTechCorp EV Infrastructure Solutions. At the end of the day, what we're doing is we're bridging the demand. And what we're saying is that, yes, the tenants of multifamily homes or the residents of multifamily homes want electric vehicle charging stations on their property. But at the end of the day, they aren't the ones buying it. The ones who are buying it are the landlords or the asset managers who they've charged with to be their representatives in the marketplace. And those are the folks who, at the end of the day, sign the purchase orders to have a program implemented. But once we get their attention and say, hey, we can work with you so that you can have a more satisfied and a more healthier community in the property that you own, then we work really hard to help them fill the knowledge gap. Because at the end of the day, my real estate colleagues, they're not going to buy if they don't understand the technology. And once I get them to understand the technology and see the market potential, whether it's the ROI, whether it's being able to charge premium on rents, or whether it's they just have tenants whose children are not stuck at home because they are suffering from more asthma, okay? We can move forward. They see those sorts of benefits. So now we can help them simplify their decision making. And usually that harbors around affordability and how do we help them carve away at the cost, okay? And that's basically through the incentive programs, tax credits, and things of that nature. That information is changing every day. If you go to the Department of Energy site, there are programs that are moving in and out of activation every day. So there's no one set program that they can count on today that will be available tomorrow. So we always take them through that filter of, let's see what's available today and what will be available when you decide that you're going to move forward in the future. And of course, we promote equitable access, EV charging for places where people live. Initially, there was a lot of talk that the market, the target market for electric vehicle adoption were white families in suburbia, okay? And I'd like to dispel that notion because my very first customers in Washington, D.C. were in the blackest and the most underserved neighborhoods in the city. And that was my first customer was in Ward 5, and my second customer was in Ward 7 in deep Southeast. And they wanted EV charging, and my company installed them, and they were my first customers. So at that point in time, I knew that EV charging was available to anyone, regardless of what the market was saying, regardless of what the press was reporting. There are folks and from all walks of life that want to go with clean driving and zero emissions transportation. And at the end of the day, we help asset managers meet their goals. Many of them are experiencing pressure for to meet the goals around net zero strategies, particularly if these equity funds are publicly traded or their boards are looking at ESG goals, where there is not just, it's a triple bottom line strategy where they're not just going to be profitable, but they're also going to be clean working environments. They'll meet goals by having delighted residents. They'll have reliable systems that they can count on, that they can market and attract new tenants or those who are driving electric vehicles. And most importantly, the ownership can concentrate on their net operating income and the ROI that having the chargers on their properties promise. So what is our playbook for the DEVI strategy? We start off with educate, 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 and educate some more. We start off with a site visit. After we spent the time educating the customer, and that is, we may do a lunch and learn. We might do an in-house webinar for their team. We may take them on a ride along to go visit other sites, or even recommend that they meet us at an industry event so they can get an immersion of what is going on in the industry as far as sustainability, alternative fuels, and zero emissions transportation. We go and visit the site and do a quick assessment, some information that we can get on one page and just give them an idea of what their project is going to cost. Okay. The worst thing that can happen is that we submit an offer that gives them sticker shock. Okay. Then we look at qualifying incentives that gives them an opportunity, again, to chip away or carve away at the cost. And then we can do a really good match as to what's going to work for their program. Then after that, if they say, hey, let's move forward, we'll execute a design build proposal that is subject to change orders. And the reason why that is important is because we haven't done an engineering analysis yet. We have not had the electrician or the master electrician on site to tell us exactly what's going to be required to stand up their program, but they have an idea. They're in the ballpark, they're on the field, okay? They're engaged. Now, once that document is signed, then we're ready to go to work. We do the work so we can provide an executive summary with a load study, a gap analysis, and determine what their return on investment will be for the program that we offer. We'll deliberate and then deliberate a final scope and get the approval of the customer so that we can move forward. And then we start with general conditions like with any other construction project and go to work and build their program. Our program activation includes implementation, commissioning, and onboarding. And one of the things I want to say is that one of the things I recommend is that even if you're not coming to DaiTechCorp, of course I want all the business, but you should go to a specialist, a consultant who can give you the whole picture instead of just one piece of the way that you can buy electric vehicle charging programs. Okay, so what are the benefits of our DEVI approach? At the end of the day, our customers trust the process. They trust their decision-making. They trust the new in-house expertise, and that's what happens. We become that trusted advisor. Many real estate companies don't have sustainability people on their team, okay, embedded in their team. We are available to them to provide that service, and we can work with them across the portfolio. Okay, and the most important thing is that they have happy residents. Now, how does it benefit our company or companies that are similarly situated to DaiTechCorp? They get to build relationships, they get to create portfolio-wide opportunities, and most importantly, we get to make an impact. Those families that live in multifamily environments, the conversation around sustainability has started. It's not going to end with EV adoption. It's going to continue on to microgrids or nanogrids, where they're looking at solar to mitigate the rising costs of electricities on that campus, as well as battery storage to mitigate the risk of loss of power and economic loss to their properties if there should be a blackout. And that's the end of our presentation. This is how you can reach DaiTechCorp. Here's our info, and I look forward to hearing more from the attendees of Baltimore Climate Tech. Thank you so much.
Sheryl, great presentation. Thank you so much. Got a couple of quick follow-up questions for you. Being an asset manager and coming from that space, you know, you and I both know, I'm a commercial broker as well, and you and I both know that we're in an industry that's the least digitized, declining in productivity, and has a strong resistance to change.
Right.
And some of your numbers were spot on. I've been saying the $275 trillion decarbonization economy, and the fact that only 100 million has been invested to date. So it's good to know that our numbers are matching up and we're following the same material. But what would you say is the biggest barrier to adoption for your solution?
I think it's the culture of the industry. You know how our industry is. It's OPM, other people's money. So if you're looking at a situation where the property owner has to dig into his own pocket to make that investment, and there's no guarantee he's going to make that money back or even a profit, it causes pause. Okay. However, tenants are making decisions to move to other places. Okay. So I've heard that there's no upside when you look at tenant turnover, but over time, what's going to end up happening is you could get so much turnover. Now you have vacancies that you weren't expecting. Okay. Yes, you can go up on the rent when you move a tenant out, but what happens if you can't fill that apartment for the next 3 to 5 months, and the person that's in that apartment is there because they are not a group who could maybe make the investment in an electric vehicle, okay? Or that person. So what's happening is you are, I'm going to say they're devaluing their rent roll, if you will, over time. I think it's going to catch up with them. They're going to have to either lower their rents or they, in order to keep tenants in the building, or they're going to have to, join with the rest of us and have some plan in place. And the thing about it is 1 or 2 dual charges would be maybe all they need to do to say, hey, we are EV ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's a small investment in comparison. We're not saying do the whole lot. We're not saying do a level 3. We're saying have it so that your tenants don't have to leave the property in order to charge their electric vehicle.
You know, smart building owners, and I know I'm preaching to the choir on this one, but I'm more so speaking to the audience. But smart building owners know and have proven that when you make these types of investments in an up market, you get the premium, and in a down market like we're in now, you keep the
good tenants. Exactly.
You keep the tenant, right? So in an up market, you get the premium. In a down market, you keep the tenant. I'm in a trophy building in downtown Baltimore in the Harbor East, and there's no vacancy in my building. You know, air quality is great. You know, plenty of EV charging. You know, It's unfortunately the Class C, Class B buildings that a lot of those owners for years prior to COVID were just used to collecting checks and
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
cutting them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the market dynamic has changed where it makes financial sense to make these investments, and if you're in Maryland, it's the law.
Right. And there's all kinds of financing available. I mean, I really
That's
didn't
right.
go into that in detail, but they can make these improvements, not just onesie twosie basis, but they can make wholesale improvements and qualify for PACE loans,
Mhm.
okay, that are tagged with their tax roll, right? So if they decide to dispose the property, the balance of the payments are linked to the taxes, and the next buyer or the acquisition team, they're the ones who are going to be paying off on those investments in the future. But there are ways that it can be done. It's not just tax incentives and rebates; those help, but the stack also includes PACE funding. It also includes loans from the local green bank or the county green bank. And like I said, they can tag that, though they can link those payments to your tax rolls also.
Absolutely. Well, Cheryl, we're going to leave it there. I appreciate your time, your subject matter expertise, your thought leadership. Happy Women's History Month. We
Well, thank
were
you.
we we were very intentional about hosting this event during Women's History Month,
Okay, great.
and making sure that we highlight people from all different types of communities, diverse communities, especially our community, because I know when we go to conferences, decarbonization conferences, or green conferences, rarely do we see a diverse set of speakers, unless it's the DEI panel or the environmental justice
Right.
panel, right?
Right. Exactly. Or
So,
they are the folks from the agencies,
right,
but
right,
when you're talking about the folks in private industry, you're
sure.
absolutely,
Sure.
yes.
So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for your time and being with us this year. And hopefully we'll see you in person at Baltimore Climate Tech 2025.
And that sounds good. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Have a great day.